Aha! Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. In this video, you see the words next to my head, you see the title. We're going to be ranking the Kenny Beats Season 1 The Cave Freestyles from worst to best. Before I get too deep into the video, I do want to mention that down there in the description box is a link to our Patreon page for a small monthly fee. You can get access to some bonus content, extra episode of Let's Argue, a monthly listen-along live stream to a record that you guys democratically choose for me to listen to and react to in real time, going from track to track on the Patreon page. And yeah, it's a good time. It's a good thing. So anyway, Mr. Kenneth Beats, currently a cultural force in the world of hip-hop production right now. I've done an interview with the guy, enjoyed quite a few songs and projects that he's made over the years. The guy's really killing it. And this The Cave series is a part of that because it's a really impressive series. It's a good quality series. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. There's a lot of interesting banter as well. I don't know if there's much else I need to say about it other than check it out if you have not already. I will again be ranking the freestyles from the variety of different artists that he's had in the studio in this season from worst to best. Let's do it. Let's go. Starting with what in my opinion was the worst freestyle of the bunch. Scrolling down to reveal that yes, it was Lil Yachty. Yes, Lil Yachty had the worst freestyle of the bunch. I'll say his references were on point, but for the most part, his flow was bad, delivery was bad, just really a waste of time, was not an interesting freestyle whatsoever. I know that sounds harsh, I know that doesn't sound nice, but it just was not very good. Not that I think that that specifically has anything to do with Kenny Beats or the series or anything like that. Lil Yachty in this portion of his career isn't really putting out a whole lot of good stuff, so it's not really a surprise to me that this particular freestyle wouldn't be all that good. However, what I will say is that every freestyle from here on in is decent to great to amazing, you know, so it's really all uphill from here. This was the one freestyle that was truly an outlier in that it did not make for a very good episode. So yeah, this was the one major dud in the bunch. The rest of them were at least mildly entertaining, so let's move on to the next one. Smino, who I thought he had a great flow and a great vibe going at the very start of his freestyle, but there was a point at which I feel like his words were coming out a little sloppy and his freestyle fizzled out toward the end. It wasn't terrible. I just wanted more. It just felt very scant. It felt like it wasn't really meant to be much more than just like a quick couple of bars. It didn't feel as fulfilling as most of the freestyle performances here, and I'll leave it at that. I think that Smino did a good job of getting across his unique part rapping, part melodic style. It's quite soulful. It's a little off-kilter. It's cool in small doses, but I just wish he was able to extend it out more into a bigger, more impressive freestyle, and really that's it. Moving on to the next one, we had Maxo Kream, who gave a pretty cool performance. I thought it was a little one-dimensional, but he did have a couple of lyrical gems and standouts that definitely made his freestyle worth listening to. I think Maxo Kream is a great feature artist. I think he stands out on particular tracks and over particular types of production. Haven't really been wowed by one of his projects from front to back yet or anything like that. I'll say that he performed at about the level that I guess I anticipated that he would. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really blowing me away either. Moving on from there, we have Key, an artist who Kenny Beats has worked with pretty extensively. Key is Mr. Whoa Kenny himself. I'll say that Key's performance was pretty funny. He had a lot of weird lyrical outliers in his freestyle that were just zany, that were really humorous. There wasn't really much in terms of like cohesion or structure or flow to anything that he was saying, though. It was entertaining, but a lot of it sounded like he was just kind of goofing off, and it didn't really have as much substance to it as some of the better freestyles here. Moving on from there, we have Earthgang, Atlanta duo Earthgang, who have a new record on the way very soon. And this one was definitely the first of the freestyles in this list that I thought were relatively impressive. I thought that lyrically, Earthgang wasn't really as on point as some of the better performances here, but they had a great energy. They brought great flows. Obviously, having two members rap their own freestyles over the same instrumental led to this being one of the more robust performances and episodes, because one member is not going to be just slacking while the other one is totally killing it. So, there was definitely some competition and chemistry there and expectation to reach a certain level of quality. So, yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. Again, not as standout lyrically and not as aggressive or as impeccably structured as some of the other ones. There are some freestyles in this list that honestly sound just like really well-crafted studio material, but just as a raw-ass freestyle, Earthgang laid it down. They did a good job. Liked it quite a bit. Moving on from there, we have Doja Cat, who had some sweet vocal lines, had some funny lyrics as well, but there was a certain point where her freestyle just kind of devolved into a merch plug, which was obviously intentional. And I hope she sold a lot of shirts off that merch plug. Again, I'll say the kickoff was pretty good, and I thought that her funny little nasally affectation that she put on while rapping and singing on the instrumental was pretty cool and definitely ear-grabbing. Doja Cat is, while not blowing me away on this freestyle, definitely an artist to watch in my view. Somebody who's grown much, much bolder in her lyricism, in her delivery, in the subject matters that she approaches in her songs in a very short amount of time. And I anticipate she's only going to get better from here. All right, moving on from there, we have JPEGMAFIA, who was actually in the first episode of The Cave. Damn Peggy came through with some really great flows that were actually kind of complex, a little bit more complex than I feel like he typically delivers on a lot of his tracks. A lot of attitude, grim, and hilarious references. I'll say JPEGMAFIA was the best of the freestyles that were mid-range and, as far as delivery goes, felt a little more casual. We're more on the casual side of the spectrum. Moving on from here, though, we have Rico Nasty, who also felt like she was rapping a little bit off the cuff, was obviously not spitting bars that were too well-groomed. However, nearly every rhyme that she put together on this freestyle was funny, was a quotable. This was supremely a very quality over quantity moment. Not the most interesting flow, and some of the ad-libs I think took up too much room in her freestyle, but everything she says on this freestyle is funny or clever to some degree. Moving on from there, though, Vince Staples, who I wasn't really anticipating much from in his episode because it took so long to actually get the whole Vince Staples freestyle rolling. But once he actually started rapping and got on beat, god damn, his flow is great, his energy was high, and unfortunately, that whole Kenny Beats being the police thing has really ruined the man's career. It sounds like it's really messing with his mental health, and he's never going to recover from it. But again, the fact that stood out as much as it did in a very well-formed freestyle that was frankly just like studio album quality. That didn't just sound like some random-ass freestyle he was putting together there. That sounded like something that really should be on a future Vince Staples record. Again, just sounded super high quality, sounded like Vince was ready. Vince was not fucking around on this one. All right, moving on from there, we have Freddie Gibbs, who also had one of the most impeccable flows. Lots of change-ups in his delivery on this one, the modulation in his voice, the lyrics on this one. Freddie absolutely murdered this freestyle, murdered this instrumental. There was absolutely no mercy whatsoever. And the ease with which he did it, it sounded so effortless. The dude is a machine, a very well-oiled machine at that. And I don't know, man, his execution was almost unparalleled in this series. I really don't know what else to say. I was floored by every aspect that I guess you could be with the freestyle. Flows are great, energy great, consistency, just flawless execution, not sloppy whatsoever. If I didn't already say, the bars. Yeah, I just don't really have anything too critical to say about what Freddie Gibbs did on this one. It was great. It was fantastic. But still, there were a couple more that I did prefer. I did end up preferring the Denzel Curry freestyle. And maybe in a way you could even say that like Denzel and Freddie are in the same number, on par. Like they have their own respective styles and everything. And I'm sure neither artist would like to hear what I'm just saying right now. But both are fantastic. You know, Denzel, I think, might have had a couple more quotables, and he just went on and on and on and on and on. He had a few ridiculous lines toward the end that maybe didn't make quite so much sense, so maybe it fizzled out in a way that was kind of unflattering. But Denzel really went like Super Saiyan on this freestyle. He had a great start. There was a point at which he really kicked the energy up and went absolutely hard as hell. It was mega impressive, and it was so good. I guess I'll overlook a little bit that moment toward the end where it was just like, okay, you know, that was a little silly or ridiculous at the finish. But outside of that, this is a great freestyle too. This is a fantastic freestyle too. It was a impeccable finish to the series. But the number one, the best freestyle of the bunch, and this was really no competition, unfortunately. It's actually kind of unfair. What are you going to do? I mean, the best one of the bunch is truly the Zack Fox freestyle. It's truly the Zack Fox freestyle, which basically got morphed into the song Jesus is the One. So yeah, pretty much every bar Zack spits on this track is hilarious. And shout out Mental Illness, Betty White, so many amazing quotables from this song that also, like the Vince Staples freestyle, are really ruining Kenny Beats' career and his reputation, because he is forever attached to that track. And long after Kenny Beats is dead, he'll be remembered for this song. He'll be remembered for this moment. I'm not sure if that's what Kenny wants his legacy to be, but that will be it. I'm sorry about that, but that will be Kenny Beats's legacy. I think it's a cool legacy. You know, I think it's an amazing legacy. I would be flattered and humbled to be attached to such a song as Jesus is the One, and an episode of this show where Zack Fox saw fit to just get mostly nude in the studio. Apparently that's something that you can do in Kenny Beats' studio. If you're Zack Fox anyway. If you're Zack Fox, I wouldn't encourage it for anybody else. But yeah, Zack Fox, this song, absolutely insane. Dorito dust on the tip. If you've heard the song, you know what that is. There's not really anything negative I can say about this track. It is a deeply religious banger. It's really significant that we hear rappers like Zack Fox, whose faith plays such a central role to their music and their pen game. So shout out to Zack Fox. Also free Zack Fox. I don't know why that dude's not back on Twitter yet, but I hope all of you are doing well. That has been the ranking. Those are my favorite The Cave freestyles from season 1, worst to best. The Cave, we will link to that and Kenny Beats' YouTube channel down below. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to that dude, Kenny Beats. Please. Whoa, Kenny. And once again, Patreon is linked down below too. And I hope all y'all are doing good. Let me know down in the comments your ranking of the freestyles from season 1 of The Cave, if you have an opinion, or just let me know what your favorite one is, what your least favorite one is. And I love you, love you, love you. Anthony Fantano. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Kenny Beats, The Cave, forever.